first, bro, please. Just in case.
A fiery crash in Los Angeles leaves a rising high school basketball star hospitalized. Tonight, Alijah Arenas, the son of a former NBA All-Star, remains in a medically induced coma. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. We begin with that developing story tonight. The son of former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas was behind the wheel of that Cybertruck that crashed into a tree. This all happened in the Reseda neighborhood of Los Angeles early this morning. Video obtained by TMZ Sports shows that fiery crash. Authorities say the Cybertruck lost control before hitting a tree as well as a fire hydrant. TMZ reports 18-year-old Alijah Arenas was the driver. He was rushed to the hospital and has now been placed into a medically induced coma because of smoke inhalation from that fire. Earlier today, we talked with TMZ's Charles Ladaboudiere about Alijah as his family is now focused on their son's recovery.
And it is, a really tragic thing for Gilbert Arenas and his family. Alijah is an incredibly talented high school basketball player who was wanted by every, prominent college basketball program in the country. We got him out actually just last week. He was with his dad and he was telling us he had committed to USC, was really excited about that. And now they're at a point where they are just worried for this young man's future outside of basketball, just his future in general.
And as Charles mentioned, Alijah has committed to playing basketball at USC next season. He is the number 10 overall recruit for the class of 2025. Police in Los Angeles say he did not break any bones in that crash. He is currently listed as being in stable condition in the hospital. There's still no word at this point on what led up to that crash, but police say drugs and alcohol were not involved. And tonight we are hearing from the family of a teenage girl in the San Francisco Bay Area who was one of 3 college students killed in a crash involving a Cybertruck nearly 6 months ago. KTVU's Henry Lee spoke with the parents of Krista Sukahara about the tragedy and learned why they are now taking legal action.
I pray that no parent ever has to go through what we're going through as a family.
Noel and Carl Sukahara are grieving and now suing over the loss of their 19-year-old daughter, Krista. She was one of 3 Piedmont High grads who died in the fiery crash of a Tesla Cybertruck on Thanksgiving Eve. In his first interview since the tragedy, Carl Sukahara tells me he's been unable to get answers as to what led up to the crash and why his daughter could not escape. He says autopsy results show she survived the initial impact but died as a result of the fire.
Unfortunately, she died a terrible death. It's going to haunt us forever, honestly.
He hopes to get more information through the lawsuit.
I think we have the right to know, and so unfortunately this lawsuit may be a means for us to get that information where we haven't been able to get access to it up until this point, and I don't think that's right.
Also killed were 20-year-old Jack Nelson and 19-year-old Soren Dixon, who was the driver. The lawsuit names Dixon's estate and his grandfather, who owned the Cybertruck. Authorities say Dixon had a blood alcohol level of .195, more than twice the legal limit for those over 21. The CHP also says he was speeding when he lost control of the vehicle near Hampton Road and King Avenue. The Cybertruck ended up wedged between a wall and a tree and caught on fire. Sukahara and Nelson also tested positive for alcohol and cocaine.
Our daughter was a good girl, Did she, maybe have some decisions? I don't know. We're trying to find out.
The lawsuit at this point does not name Tesla. Attorney Roger Dreyer is not ruling out that possibility.
There's certainly information that might implicate Tesla in terms of why is there a fire. People don't expect the vehicle to suddenly catch on fire and the inability to get out.
As the case makes its way through court, the family struggling to cope with a life cut short too soon.
She was a fighter. She knew what she wanted. She worked hard, very hard, to try and fulfill her dreams.
The driver's family has declined to comment on this lawsuit. In Piedmont, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
We turn now to a developing story we're following in the Idaho College murders case. A judge has ruled the suspect, Brian Kohberger, can face the death penalty if he's convicted at his upcoming trial, despite his recent autism diagnosis. The judge said Kohberger's lawyers failed to show how his autism is the equivalent of an intellectual disability. The defense had been arguing that executing someone with autism is cruel and unusual punishment. Kohberger is charged in the stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho College students back in 2022. We have an update to a story we brought you last night here on the show. A federal judge ruled today the White House cannot legally withhold federal funds from so-called sanctuary cities that limit cooperation with immigration officials. 14 cities and counties across the country sued the Trump administration over its policy. That includes San Francisco and Santa Clara counties, along with Seattle, Portland, Santa Fe, New Mexico, as well as other cities. Many other cities have instructed their officers not to cooperate with immigration agents on enforcement operations. ICE is still allowed to conduct arrests in those sanctuary cities. Immigration enforcement operations have increased dramatically ever since President Trump took office almost 100 days ago. Tonight, reporter Vicente Arenas goes along with ICE agents in the Denver area to show us firsthand what this crackdown looks like.
On any given day, even before sunrise, ICE agents say they're making arrests in Denver and in Colorado. And on this particular morning, our cameras are with one of the teams heading to a confidential location. We arrived to a briefing.
Done a little bit of surveillance.
Then head to a stakeout.
There is only one other known occupant.
A short while later, agents arrest a 50-year-old man, which ICE says has a criminal history and 6 previous removals to Mexico.
A lot of man hours goes into this. As you can see, the number of agents it takes to make one arrest.
Separate apartment complex.
We then move on to an apartment complex in Aurora. One undocumented immigrant with what ICE says is a criminal history is caught, but another gets away.
We're just arriving from being out in the field with the ICE agents. The undocumented immigrants that they have caught are brought to the ICE field office here, and this is where they will begin to process the people they've arrested.
One of them, ICE says, is this 31-year-old man from Mexico with a final order of removal with state criminal convictions.
This is where everyone that you caught this morning is being held right now, right?
Correct. All these individuals here in the cell have yet to be processed. They were all arrested today.
Denver's field office director Robert Guadian says ICE agents have already arrested more immigrants this fiscal year than in all of the previous year. Agency said go after the worst first.
Everyone in this holding room were targets. There was targeted law enforcement operations that ICE was undertaking.
Guadian says there are now plans to establish another ICE holding facility in Hudson. By the end of the year, it will have at least as many beds as the more than 1,500 beds in the existing Aurora ICE facility. Agents expect to continue making large number of arrests of immigrants they say are threats to public safety.
Vicente Arenas reporting for us. Today, California Governor Gavin Newsom touted a new and important milestone for the state. If California were its own country, it would now rank as the 4th largest economy in the world. New figures from the International Monetary Fund and the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis show California has overtaken Japan in those economic rankings. Governor Newsom says at 6% annual growth, California is growing at a faster rate than the world's top 3 economies, the United States itself, China, and Germany. But today, Newsom warned the Trump administration's tariffs could stop that momentum.
Tariffs literally gutting the economy of this state and creating so much uncertainty. It's going to take years and years. I mean, to wreck the economy, now the 4th largest economy in the world, California.
And analyst with the Bay Area Council Economic Institute says for California to keep up, it needs to make strides to build more housing and reduce the cost of living and doing business. The Trump administration's tariffs are having a significant impact on tourism in the state of Washington. The mayor of the city of Blaine, which sits right at the U.S.-Canada border, says the number of Canadians traveling south has significantly dropped by about 50%. During a roundtable with Washington Senator Patty Murray, Mayor Mary Lou Stewart said over the years, residents in Blaine have crossed the border to fill up their gas tanks, buy milk, and pick up Amazon deliveries.
We really depend upon Canadians coming to shop in Blaine.
That border crossing between Blaine and the border city of Surrey is the largest crossing in all of Western Canada. City officials say commerce comes up Interstate 5 into British Columbia and then straight up to Alaska. Blaine's mayor says 70% of Canadian carriers report southbound freight has decreased significantly. Now to our continuing coverage on the tributes to Pope Francis. Thousands lined up today to pay their respects to the late pontiff. Mourners showed up before dawn and waited in line for several hours. The Vatican says more than 20,000 people attended the first public viewing yesterday at St. Peter's Basilica. His Holiness will lie in state until tomorrow before his funeral coming up on Saturday. Pope Francis died on Monday, just one day after making a surprise Easter appearance in St. Peter's Square.
I got up at 4:30 to be here at 5 a.m. like everybody else in this line to pay my respects to Pope Francis. Thank him for so much that he's done for the church. I mean, for me personally as a Catholic.
Well, I think it's very important to be here. Just show our respect to the Holy Father. It wasn't planned. We just decided to come last minute, so we flew from Dublin.
Pope Francis's final resting place will be at St. Mary Major Basilica in Rome. Cardinals arrived at the Vatican this morning for a second day to prepare for the funeral of Pope Francis and continue organizing the conclave to select a new pope. A new pope is selected when a candidate gets 2/3 of the majority in the voting process, and we will find out when a new pope has been elected once white smoke is seen coming from the Vatican. Only eligible cardinals who have reached a certain age and are not serving as bishops can participate in the conclave.
It just looked like he was in a cloud of black smoke. It was like just surrounding him.
Coming up tonight, an Arizona couple swarmed by aggressive bees while they were out for a hike, and the husband, who's allergic to bees, was fortunate he survived what he was carrying with him that likely saved his life. Also coming up tonight, a shocking arrest and hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. We're learning more tonight about the man accused of using a chainsaw to take down a number of trees in downtown Los Angeles.
And in weather, here's our live camera in the San Francisco Bay Area looking out toward Oakland. A lot of cloud cover, and we're tracking a system that could bring rain chances to parts of the West Coast. We'll update the forecast coming up.
Tonight, an Arizona couple is sharing more about a terrifying ordeal as they were attacked by a massive swarm of bees while out for a hike. Between the two of them, they were stung almost 100 times. Fox 10's Kenzie Beach has more tonight on how this attack nearly killed the husband who's allergic to bee stings.
It was almost like those bees knew exactly where to go. Oh, now they've stung us. And then
once you get stung once, it sends a chemical trail. Right. And then they just follow you.
Yeah, so then it was
now you're the target.
They came without a warning. An angry swarm of Africanized killer bees went straight for Jeremy Pierce, his wife Karen, and their friend right alongside him.
Just everywhere. I'm just swatting them.
They're all buzzing in my hair, so I have to, rip the ponytail out.
Yeah. There was nothing to do but take off running. Jeremy heading straight up to the trailhead a mile away.
And they're like, run, Jeremy, run.
The bees taking off after him.
It just looked like he was in a cloud of black smoke. It was like just surrounding him.
For the last 12 years, the couple has hiked and biked Paloma Community Park. Jeremy never without his EpiPen.
And to see him be stung over and over, I just thought, I'm going to walk up and I'm going to just see him passed out, and they're not going to get to him in time. That was my thought.
Jeremy's face and neck completely swollen and quickly turning a purplish red.
Just losing him would be terrible.
I got my pen and gave myself a shot.
Jeremy, in anaphylactic shock, was rushed straight to the hospital. Karen also in distress.
And then my throat started to feel scratchy and like something was not right. And come to find out I had bee stings all in my neck. And when they were like flicking them out with credit cards, these stingers.
After hours of medications and fluids, the Pierces were released. A warning sign now sits on the same trailhead they were attacked on, but Karen and Jeremy aren't letting this stop them from doing what they love.
We immediately went back out hiking, both of us.
I'm already looking for snakes in the summertime.
Yeah, exactly.
So now in the springtime, I'll be looking for bees.
Karen and Jeremy both very aware that the outcome could have been a lot different on the trail that day if they did not have an EpiPen with them. Valley bee experts telling us it's both the weather warming up and a lack of rain that has increased bee swarms in the valley. In the West Valley, Kenzie Beach, Fox 10 News.
Tonight, Los Angeles police say they've arrested a man who used a chainsaw to cut down numerous city trees in the downtown area, causing hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. Detectives say they know of at least 11 trees that were destroyed. Police say they have arrested 45-year-old Samuel Groft, who is homeless. They say he was caught on surveillance video, sometimes in broad daylight, cutting down those trees. Detectives say the week-long rampage began on April 13th and ended with Groft's arrest on Earth Day, the day devoted to celebrating and protecting our planet.
I have 35 years on the Los Angeles Police Department, and I have never seen anyone go and attack trees, especially around the time of Earth Day. This, I have to say, is a first for me.
Groft is facing half a dozen counts of felony vandalism. LA Mayor Karen Bass put out a statement thanking the police department and said at a time when the community should be coming together and bettering our city, this is incomprehensible and the person responsible should be held accountable. All right, let's talk about our weather here in the West here because things really cooled down for a lot of folks. Let's bring in KTVU's chief meteorologist, Mark Tamayo, with more on when we can expect some sort of a warm up. Mark?
Yeah, that's right, Alex. We are seeing the pattern kind of stall out with the cool weather pattern for parts of the West Coast. And for parts of California, we're talking about some more rain and some more snowfall. This was the scene today looking out toward the west slopes of the Sierra, right around Lake Tahoe. And we do have a winter weather advisory that begins 5 p.m. Friday until 11 a.m. Sunday. And snowfall could be right around 4 to 8 inches. So still talking about some snow as we do head into the weekend. Here's the satellite and the overall upper level wind pattern here. And a big trough here. You can see also a lot of clouds moving into central and northern California, even clipping portions of Oregon as well. And then still some lingering rain showers out toward parts of Colorado over the past few hours out toward Denver. Once again, a lot of clouds moving over the Bay Area, also approaching the central coast of California. And current numbers out there right now, we have 87 degrees in Phoenix. Las Vegas is 81. Reno checking in 67, and then still a nice weather pattern up in the Pacific Northwest for Portland and Seattle. This was Seattle today. Temperature has kind of been a nice stretch in the lower 70s this afternoon, 72. San Francisco, lots of cloud cover throughout the day, only in the 50s. Temperatures below the average. And then in Phoenix, a few high clouds showing up in this camera shot. The warmest location, at least on these panels, 92 degrees this afternoon. So here's kind of the game plan for tomorrow. Sunshine up in Seattle for tomorrow with the temperatures back up into the 70s. We're watching this cool system here that'll send in some clouds towards San Francisco and eventually some rain showers by Saturday for San Francisco and also towards Southern California. More sunshine out toward Phoenix, and still some showers could persist out in the Denver area for tomorrow for your Friday. Here is the forecast model. We'll put it in motion, and you can see here the activity. In fact, this is the system we're watching. It's kind of just offshore Friday afternoon, and this could produce some more rain and some more snow showers as we do move into the weekend and start off Saturday for the Bay Area, even down towards Southern California as well. So here's kind of the breakdown. There's that rain cloud for Los Angeles for Saturday. Lots of sunshine, some warm temperatures in Phoenix, but you can see a steady drop off of those numbers, especially by Sunday. And then for San Francisco, we're keeping an eye on that shower chance. Has been a nice weather stretch in Seattle with overall fair skies, partly cloudy skies for tomorrow and more sunshine into Saturday as well. So interesting pattern, Alex, with still the remnants of winter and still some more snowfall showing up for parts of the West Coast over the coming days.
Yeah, winter hanging on tight. Yeah. Okay, Mark, thank you. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, we will highlight an Idaho organization that aims to help victims of domestic violence, how they say their work goes beyond just that and helps in a number of different ways. Also, Seattle on track for a record number of cruise passengers docking in the city, how the region is preparing for that influx of travelers. A nonprofit organization in Idaho dedicated to helping the victims of domestic violence is truly making a difference. Voices Against Violence has now released their annual report on how they continue to support those in need. Tonight, KMVT's Ryan Hill has a closer look at the work they're doing.
They have a split moment to make an escape, and they come to us, and sometimes it means that they're just coming with literally what they have on.
Voices Against Violence helps find resources for thousands of people fleeing domestic violence or abuse. Executive Director Noemi Juarez says the organization has seen a lot more people in need of food boxes lately.
One of the biggest highlights right now that we have is being able to provide close to 3,000 food boxes for survivors in our community. We do serve 6 counties.
According to Juarez, the program goes far beyond helping with food insecurity. Voices Against Violence also helps with finding resources to help assist with mental health issues. The organization provides their own services and removes financial barriers to access further help.
So we would help clients pay for up to 12 sessions with a preferred counselor. So we do work closely with partners like Family Health Services and other contracted counselors that might offer services on a sliding scale for our survivors.
Juarez believes Voices Against Violence caseworkers have gotten better at recognizing signs that someone needs mental health assistance and how to bring it up with clients, which is never an easy conversation to start. Juarez says this organization does so much for victims. A Voices Against Violence caseworker helped her leave her abuser back in 2016 with her then 2-year-old son.
She put in place, talk to law enforcement, give them a heads up about what's going on. Do you have trusted neighbors that if something were to escalate that they would call law enforcement? Do you have relatives? Where's your son going to go? So many questions that she was prepping me for, and I was able to leave that situation.
Juarez says Voices Against Violence's goals going forward are to reach more clientele, especially youth in schools, to target teen dating violence and bullying. In Twin Falls, Ryan Hill, KMVT News.
Nearly 2 million cruise passengers are set to pass through Seattle in the coming months for what could be a record-setting season. The Port of Seattle reports nearly 300 ships will dock in the Emerald City over the next 5 months. The Holland America line says it came into this season with more deposits on the books than ever before, which is creating a big buzz for the local economy.
Throughout this Seattle season of cruising, we're going to have 43 different voyages that will start here, going up to Alaska to explore the wonders of that state. But when they're here in Seattle, that's 88,000 people will be coming through the area. And each time we have a ship here, it brings about $250,000 that's infused into the local economy.
Over the next 2 seasons, 3 new lines will call Seattle home. Starting in June, Holland America's sister line, Cunard, will begin service. And in the spring of 2026, MSC and Virgin ships will be in the harbor as well. Finally tonight, one of the biggest names in music crashed a frat party at Arizona State University. Have a look. Here's the Grammy-winning DJ duo, the Chainsmokers, playing a free show at a party for hundreds of college students. It only lasted a few minutes before police moved in and shut it down. But one of the DJs said that he paid a fine to the police to let them play for 15 more minutes. The Chainsmokers were already in town for the Breakaway Music Festival, where they headlined Friday night's festivities. Looks like quite the show there. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. As always, have a great night.